Hey YouTube, it's ShryphonX here. Today, we're going to be talking about One Piece Chapter 1163. Like and subscribe for more content, The End of a Legend. One Piece Chapter 1163, full spoilers. We near the climax of the God Valley incident as we bid farewell to one of the most iconic flashback characters in One Piece in the previous One Piece chapter, Rocks. Whitebeard and Kaido face off against Emu, who possesses Jay Garcia's Saturn on God Valley. One Piece Chapter 1163 is titled Promise. This chapter has 17 pages. The cover story is a reader request, featuring Luffy doing parkour and jumping between buildings with two monkeys. People really love to play with Luffy's surname. King of the Rats, the chapter starts with Emu, having taken over Saturn's body, attacking indiscriminately all pirates and marines in God Valley. Emu looks terrifying, with his actual form from Mary Geos with the crown replacing Saturn's bulbous body, while still maintaining the Gyuki's large spider legs. The marines must be so confused by the situation, seeing their highest leader turn into a monster who treats them like vermin. Egghead Island had Saturn, just Saturn himself, directly calling lower-ranked Marines vermin. And if you recall, only those who are ranked Commodore and above are allowed in the presence of the five elders, and any transgressors among the Marines cannot be forgiven. Emu crushes everyone with Saturn spider legs, whether as Marines, pirates, or civilians. At the same time, Garp arrives at the scene with some Marines and walks toward the fight. Garp sees how Emu is attacking pirates and Marines alike. The bewildered Marines ask their superior if they should provide backup, but even he is unsure of the situation as he sees the giant monster in front of him. However, Rocks maintains his cool and confidence, having faced up against Emu 18 years earlier inside Pangaea Castle, even daring to call him King of the Rats. Rocks called Emu, which literally means King of the Rats. However, the term Dobunazumi specifically refers to the brown rat or sewer rat species, the filthiest kind of rat there is. Emu refers to Rocks as Davy Jones, which is just like how Emu treats Luffy as Joy Boy. However, unlike Luffy, Xebec has no devil fruit power or the soul of an ancestor in him, only that he has such willpower that they are alike. Xebec casually says that he has never actually met Davy Jones. However, he makes a quote that a promise ought to be kept. What would this promise be? Is the will of Davy indeed the will of D? In Chapter 1155, Rocks Pirates, Xebec identifies himself as a follower of Davy Jones. This moves Emu to eradicate Rocks and erase the entire Davy clan. We also get an interesting line from Emu that his world is not complete, probably due to the presence of the D, even as Emu does not treat them as harshly as the Davy clan. But this could also refer to the flooding of the world through Emu's use of the ancient weapons to eradicate unaffiliated nations and any traces of races and nations that know of the Void Century. The completion will lead to the third world in the Harley mural, except it is Emu's version of things, likely a world of demons under his complete command. So there are distinctions. The Davy clan of Buccaneers has to be destroyed because they are an unconquered race and have offended Emu and the world government 800 years ago, and the will of D belongs to those remnants who do not know the meaning of their own name. This leads to Xebec cutting one of the spider legs, starting the fight. How he became Captain John while the Rocks and Roger Pirate crew clash. We cut to Captain John using the Jiki Nomi fruit power to collect all treasures for himself using magnetic power through an attack called Big Eater. Each member of the Rocks Pirates came to T. The pretense was the mission to rescue Shaki, the treasure of Hakanosu, but everyone had a clear ambition. Xebec came to rescue his family. John and the others came for the treasure, but it was clear that John had a stronger means of claiming everything for himself via his devil fruit. Kaido wanted a devil fruit, which he took from Lin Lin by force. It seems that John has his own splinter faction to form his own crew as he says goodbye to the Rocks Pirates. Suddenly, Ganzue attacks by flicking a booger, calling it Sky Snake Red Cannon, and causing a massive explosion. While unconfirmed, unlike John here, this action clearly shows him as the previous user of the Bomu Bomu no Mi, and somehow the fruit seems to make every user horribly inefficient by forcing them to flick boogers. The explosion scatters the treasures and dragon around. Shiki wonders why Ganzue attacked John, and Ganzue explains that John will not share the loot fairly and take everything since each treasure box is worth 1 billion each. Aside from gold and property from the celestial dragons and the wealth of God Valley stolen by the world nobles, there are devil fruits in those chests that exceed the 1 billion berry amount, but John is only attracting the ones with material treasure. Despite the strength of the magnetic power, Roger continued running toward the place where Emu and Rocks were fighting. This shows that the Jiki no Mi's powers, like Law's Ope no Mi, can be countered with strong haki, and the fact that Roger is doing this casually shows how ridiculously strong he is. Dragon's gun was also pulled by Captain John's magnetic power, so Dragon fell to the ground when Captain John was attacked and passed out. The greatest alliance formed. Meanwhile, Garp marches towards a rampaging Emu, but a whole Congo line of Marines try to stop him, saying that he cannot go up against one of the world's greatest authorities. However, Garp refuses to budge, calling Emu vermin. First, Xebec calls Emu king of the sewer rats, and now Garp just says vermin, as if he was here for pest control. These two are the ballsiest men around. No wonder Xebec respects Garp so much, even for a Marine. Kaido asks Xebec to let him have a go at the big monster. Riding on Zeus, Charlotte Linlin joins Xebec, Whitebeard, and Kaido, since she is after Kaido after she got double-crossed. Roger also shows up but sees that Garp is already gearing up to attack Emu. Then, in one of the most epic double pages in all One Piece, Garp, Roger, Rocks, Newgate, Kaido, and Linlin attacked Emu together. Garp, Galaxy Impact. Roger, Divine Departure. Rocks, Pandemonium. Newgate, Hakua. Linlin, Ikoku's Sovereignty. Kaido, Dragon. Yes, you heard that right. Kaido's first ever big move is just Dragon. That is how much a newbie he is. This seems to be Burrow Breath, as Kaido is seemingly about to unleash a fire blast while the other 5 join forces to take on Emu. For context on Kaido and Linlin's attack, Linlin tries to attack Kaido for his betrayal, but Kaido dodges easily and hits Emu's body instead. So both their attacks were for each other, not for Emu. Meanwhile, this is the first time Whitebeard has called out a named attack, and it is one we have not seen in the present day. Hakua has many meanings but are tied to the term Skybreaker. All those massive attacks destroy Emu's body. However, Emu regenerates quickly, like how Gunko did in Chapter 1146, Motion and Stillness. Emu unleashes a massive wave of Conqueror's Haki, possibly the strongest Haki attack since Joy Boy's Not on Egghead, which sent back the 5 elders to marry Geos and shook Emu. Everyone, except the top 6 alliance, Rayleigh, who runs off with Shaki in his arms, and the other strong pirates, are overwhelmed and knocked out. While the chaos is happening, Shanks is unfazed as a baby and climbs to the treasure chest with such curiosity. Baby Shanks might really have the strongest Haki in history, being totally unfazed by the god of this world. Emu senses new Davy clan members, Xebec's wife and child. Hearing this threat to his family, Xebec manages to cut through Emu's body, but Emu is still alive and uses the shadowy form's tentacles to pierce through Xebec. Emu assures Xebec that while he will do nothing, Xebec will be the one to kill his own family. The chapter ends as we see Xebec turn into a demon through Domi Reversi while Eris and Teach run through the forest. Editor's note: what will be the fate of Rocks and the others? Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more content. ShryphonX out.